light there, it's going to light up without putting the glare into the camera. A lot of cars have it here, or up in here for the rear backup light. We place it all the way at the bottom, gives you a nice visual when you've got your rear camera on in reverse. The tail lamps on the back of the Cadillac 14, also vertical lighting. You note two vertical light bars. One's taller than the other, and on the outside of both of them there's a script inside that says Cadillac written on there for a little added touch. There's 51 LED lights here. There's 51 LED lights there, and there's 48 LEDs here for 150 LEDs across the back. When you touch the brakes on this car,
yeah, look at that.
And on a very sunny day when I picked this up and got home, my wife was following me in my XTS. As soon as she got out of the car, she's not a car person. The very first thing she said was, "Wow, are those lights bright and aware at the back that you're stopping?" She was most impressed by that light control. They've added a double clicker for your trunk release so you don't inadvertently open your trunk. Hey, there's a big move. The XTS gets a hold button for the trunk release as compared to just a tap. I don't know how many times last year in my XTS I come out of the hotel, my trunk's open. You know, nothing was ever stolen, but it usually looks like this. So I got very lucky that I never had anything stolen. Ample trunk and the back seats lay down. So you can lay down one side or both sides. And underneath here are 4 different storage compartments. One up there, or 3. One there, one here, and a long one here. That can be used for personal belongings to stay out of the way and keep them from getting damaged. This car is 244 pounds, rounded off to 250 pounds lighter than last year's vehicle, yet it's 5 inches longer than last year's vehicle. It's longer in the wheelbase than an XTS. Their main objective was to make it the lightest in the class, and they not only achieved that, but in the process it became the 2014 Car of the Year for Motor Trend. One of the ways they achieved the lightness in this car over last year, all 4 doors are aluminum. So when you have this door open and you shut it, it doesn't sound like aluminum. It shuts like a vault actually when you hear it shut. It's very airtight. People will ask, is it aluminum a little more susceptible to door dings and parking lots and such than what steel is? And the answer typically would be yes, it is. But the engineers, when they put this together, the steel doors from last year were 0.7 millimeters thick. These are 1.1 millimeter. So they kept thickening the door little by little until they got the equal strength of a steel door without having to give them too much weight. And it costs no more to fix a door ding PDR or no more to fix it through the body shop than a steel door does. But it saved us 13.75 pounds or 55 pounds overall for all 4 doors. The front suspension system, they picked up 30% less weight by going from steel and cast iron to high intensity aluminum instead, and 25% in the rear configuration for the rear suspension on the car. They've also added something on the front of the car that's kind of like, y'all familiar with magnetic ride control? I see no? You couldn't get magnetic ride control last year on a CTS until you got to a V Sport. It originally came out on the XLR, then they added it to the Escalade Platinum editions, and then all the Escalades.
On the STS too, right?
And then early on the STS. This is the 5th generation of magnetic ride control, and very simply what it does for you, it's the fastest reacting suspension system in the automobile business by anybody. GM was the first to develop it. Now everybody has something similar, but they've changed the name for their brand, and that's okay. We led the way. It was ours to begin with. Ferrari uses it for their suspension system. It is fluid-filled shock absorbers with metal particles inside that are real small, and it's electronically charged, so that as you're putting the car through its paces, it's reading the road every 4 milliseconds, or every millisecond, and it's changing the suspension every 4 milliseconds. Now, I know that's damn fast, but to put it into kind of a real-world perspective, by the time you go over a bump on the front, it's adjusted for the rear tires. And if you pay attention to that while you're driving, you'll feel the difference in that. So what it's doing is, as it's harsh, either in cornering or bumps, it's set an electrical charge, and it can coagulate all those metal particles to being very solid and stiff so you get no body roll. This is where they really liked it at Motor Trend when taking this car out onto its track and through the corners. They're getting no body roll, which keeps them on their line, which gives them the speed and performance that they're looking for. Same with pitch and dive from front to rear. You don't get that with the magnetic ride control. So last year where you couldn't get it till you got to a V series, this year it's driven by wheel size. So once you get an 18-inch wheel, you're going to pick up magnetic ride control included in the price of that entire wheel package. And it's $15.50 to go from 17 to 18. And then the price of magnetic ride control, so it's a bargain to move up. And I suspect that if you talk that up, you'll have a lot of people who will up themselves on a luxury package to the 18-inch tires and wheels just to get magnetic ride control, despite the visual that you're going to get with an 18 over a 17. So magnetic ride control is a key component to this vehicle and why it does and handles the way that it does, and everybody brags about it. Keep that in mind. Also from last year to this year, you couldn't get a Q system and you couldn't get the reconfigurable dash in a CTS. This year it's standard. So you get the baby reconfigurable, which gives you the 3 boxes across the front like in an XTS. Familiar? Let me turn this on so you can see it.
I'm not gonna lie to the guy.
What?
I said I'm not gonna lie to the guy.
No, that's cool. If you're not familiar, I appreciate it. Most guys go, oh yeah, and then I say, okay, well show me this, and I go,
I have no idea.
I got a phone call. So if you don't know, that's what I'm here for. When you look across the dash on this car, you got 3 boxes. Let's take a look close in there. The outside left box and the outside right box, you can change. There's 17 different settings that you can pick what you want in there as you're traveling. The one in the middle is going to scroll you through your audio control, your nav control, your radio controls, all for a visual in the middle. And then of course the Q screen on the outside, which is probably the highest tech infotainment system on the market today. It's finally reached a point after 17 or 18 months where people aren't scared of the Q anymore, for the most part. Most everybody's at least 90% on the capabilities of Q by now. When it came out, one of the big conversations was the fact that if you learn it once, you learn it for the foreseeable future. If there was anybody who was waiting for it to go away because it was too complicated and they didn't want to mess with it, it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. Everything coming out from Cadillac will have a Q system in it. The big thing about that you can tell your clients too is that it's upgradable just like your phone. So at some point, the next upgrade on this will probably be satellite driven. They'll get a little icon on the screen that says update available. They'll push a button, they'll tell them what it is, and the satellite will send it down to the car and update it to the screen. That's where they're working to getting the next upgrade at, so the 13s can have what the 14s have.
It's streamlined, and you don't have, like a lot of the competition or even our old systems, you'd have one system one way, one another way. Now we're all on the same page. So once you get one program down, they're all going to work.
Exactly. I can remember when we had 8 different models and 8 different nav systems.
Oh yeah.
And they were all difficult to operate. Now this one here was a little difficult at first, and we figured out it was nothing more than an iPhone on the dash. Right? This year, one of the new features on the Q system for 14, so any model that has a Q in 14, ATS, CTS, XTS, and SRX, has what's called voice pass-through. There's a microphone on the Q screen that wasn't there in 13.
So I just saw when I was sitting there.
When you pair your phone, it lights up and becomes operable. What that allows you to do then is like I do. I put my phone in the compartment up front underneath the storage that's there, and I forget about it when I get in the car, because now if I press my microphone, it'll come on, I hit start, I get 2 beeps just like I would with Siri, and I say read my text. And she'll read my text to me and then ask me if I want to reply after each one that she reads to me. If I don't want to reply, I say no. If I do, I say whatever it is I'm going to say. She repeats it to me and says, shall I send it? Yes. Boom. Sent. So when I'm traveling, I can get my emails and I can get my text messages without ever going to my phone or being distracted or having to do anything but touch a microphone. So they made that very, very simple for people. And what's going to happen too in the future, Q is going to become all voice activated at some point. So all the naysayers that are out there that say that it's too damn distracting because you have to touch it, well, I don't care. You still got to turn a knob too, whether you have to touch it or not. You're still reaching for something. The next thing for this is everything will be voice activated, including the heating and air conditioning, which right now people are asking for that. Why can't I voice do my heat and air conditioning? That's coming. So be patient with the system. We're the only ones that have anything like this, so we're at least 2 years ahead of everybody else on the marketplace, and they're all scrambling, trying to figure out how to get here, whether they're knocking it or not. Ford's even gone to the extent of saying, we're going back to knobs and dials. Because they had a lot of problems with their voice-activated system that they put on TV. And I'm not knocking them for that, but they did. So their defense to that is we're going back to knobs and dials. Touchscreen's too complicated. Until they perfect theirs, and they'll be back out with it. So sometimes you're better not to say anything and just do it. Like Lexus did with automatic parking assist. They were the first ones on the market with it, but they could never perfect it. It was always a problem. It took too long. It didn't work. There was a whole host of things that they couldn't get right on the car. To the extent that when they introduced it to the market on the Today Show 5 years ago, with Matt Lauer, the president of Lexus North America's on, goes to demonstrate it, and it didn't work at all. And you talk about a guy that had egg on his face, and I wouldn't want to have been his assistant because he was probably out of a job at that point. Leave his boss hanging like that. So they've done away with it, and it was a $2,800 option, I think, on Lexus. You can't get it anymore. We've got it, it's perfected, it doesn't have any glitches, and it's included in a package so you don't have to buy it separate. So a lot of great advancements in technology. The other thing that's carrying over on all the vehicles, if you're familiar, we've got two packages called Driver Awareness and Driver Assist that have a host of safety technological features in each package. The Driver Assist means that it's actually going to perform a function along with you to assist you in that safety function. The Driver Awareness simply means that it's going to alert you to take command of the car because something's going on that it wants you to be aware of. So awareness is an alert. Driver Assist is an actual function joining you in that process. Yeah, we are working very close to getting to total autonomous cars. They've got them built, so it's not like it's a mystery. And people joke about it. Well, they're already out and they're already performing. They're doing what they're supposed to. My thinking is that we can't just go there immediately with a population that's not used to semi-autonomous, let alone autonomous driving. And I get that from trying to watch salespeople do the automatic parking assistant here, but they've never been shown how to use it and how disconcerting it can be. And in that case, all it's doing is steer